Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, a couple of things. I just that there, so I'm not so close to the video today. So, a couple of things. I want to show you guys what I got. I got this book. Now, this isn't sponsored. I just bought this book and I wanted to show you guys. I usually do it on TikTok, but this way I don't have to post like 20 parts. But this is a prequel to Riverdale. So like it talks about what they were doing the day before Jason Blossom was killed. Actually, it's not the day before, it was the day before the gunshot, when he went missing, when he was kidnapped by his orders of his father. Anyway, it's called The Day Before Riverdale. So it also talks about what Veronica was doing, Jughead, Betty, Archie, and all the gang. Like Cheryl, I think, is also mentioned in here a couple of times. But it's cool because like you get to see like little texts. And it was $10 at Barnes and Nobles. But I also bought season 1 of Riverdale. Super excited for that. Bought it from Amazon, $13. And then season 2, which was $18, so a little expensive. That's why I didn't buy the 3rd or 4th seasons. I will eventually. I do want to get them, but I'm gonna wait till I have money, or when the 5th season comes out, the 3rd season should be a little cheaper. I mean, they were both less than $30, but they were a little more expensive than I was willing. I mean, $13 not bad. $18 a little much, but at least I can watch the deleted scenes on these. Super excited. Never seen the deleted scenes for Riverdale, and I'm a huge Riverdale fan. But let's get into today's video. So what I wanted to do is I found some like sneak peeks or behind the scenes of the next couple of episodes, which I'm super excited for. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. And each week I'll of course do a recap, reaction, review of like the episode that came out, and then I'll do a reaction to the promo. If it's like an exciting promo, like this was a big promo that I did a reaction to. If I find sneak peeks, I will be sure to show them to you and react to them. But let's get into this. So this is the first thing I found, which is Riverdale 25 teases for the 7-year time jump. So, you've heard the news, folks, and it's true. With next week's episode, Chapter 80, Purgatorio, Riverdale is jumping 7 years into the future, and thanks to a slew of pictures, as well as not one, but 2 teaser trailers for upcoming episodes, we know a lot more about what's coming to TV's wildest show. And technically, this is the official kickoff of Season 5. So, Purgatorio is the 4th episode of the season. The first 3 were wrapping up the mysteries, both actual and emotional, left over from Season 4 once the show shut down due to COVID. Spoilers for Chapter 79 graduation past this point. But at the end of last night's February 3rd episode, the gang separated after Archie Andrews headed off to join the army. Veronica left for college in New York, Betty for Yale, and Jughead sadly hung around by himself until booking it to the University of Iowa, which I have to say was even sadder than his breakup. Being alone the summer after you graduate is just super sad. And think about it. If you guys did see that episode, he wouldn't see his friends for 7 years. And Jughead doesn't make friends easily. So he would be going to college and would be alone for those 7 years, especially because his dad would be in Ohio, and who knows what was going on. I can't wait for the episode. I'm really excited to see all the flashbacks to in between the graduating from high school and heading to college. That'd be pretty cool. Though the core 4 had all vowed to meet up a year later in Pop's diner, nobody arrived except for Jughead. Other than his small tease, we didn't get to find out what happened to everyone. Jughead's closing narration stated that it would be 6 years before I saw my friends again. We would be different people, each of us, brought together by, of course, a new crisis, a new mystery, but that's another story for another day. Now, another thing is that it was always him and Betty that solved the mysteries. Really, it was him and Betty that decided to investigate Jason Blossom's disappearance and then death. It was him and Betty who started investigating the Black Hood. It was him and Betty who started investigating the Gargoyle Can. It was him and Betty who started investigating the stoners and then the videotape coming. Even though Archie and Veronica and sometimes Cheryl helped with these mysteries, it was always Jughead and Betty. So I really hope, even though it seems like it's going to be Tony and Archie really doing the mystery this season, Hiram Lodge taking over Riverdale can't be the only thing that's going to happen, because it does say a new mystery. Hiram Lodge taking over the town isn't a mystery. It's crazy. So hopefully there's a new murderer. I mean, there's supposed to be, and that's revealed in one of these trivia things, sneak peek things. It states that there's like a killer truck driver or somebody, and in the trailer that I showed, it shows Betty being attacked by a chainsaw. But anyway, let's get back to it. Now it's time to hear that story. So let's, as usual, go hog wild with a way too deep dive into some first look pictures at Purgatorio and the following episode, Chapter 81, The Homecoming, as well as a painstakingly frame-by-frame look through the teasers. Welcome everyone to the Riverdale of the future. Time jump, key art. So I think I've already showed you this, guys, but this is their updated appearances. So of course we have Betty and Archie at the top, and then Jughead and Veronica. Now look at this. It's Betty and Jughead and Archie and Veronica. Could mean something. Reggie looks the same. Cheryl looks the same. Veronica looks the same. Tony looks the same other than her hair. Tony's hair is new. This is a new girl. This is Tabitha Tate. She is the granddaughter of Pop Tate. Kevin looks the same, but in one of the pictures I'm going to show you, I believe it's in this page, it might be in the other one, he got ripped. Like, Casey Cott, like, has abs now, so other than that, his appearance didn't change much. Fangs' appearance doesn't look like it changed much, other than his face. He grew a little goatee thing here, and his hair is a lot longer than it was. Archie looks the same. His hair does look shorter in the trailer, though, so that could be something. And then Betty, her style is a little different. I think it's a little more mature, but her hair, I think, is the most noticeable difference. This is the first time in a poster that she isn't wearing her ponytail. She actually has her hair down, and it's actually a lot longer than it was. And then, of course, Jughead doesn't have his serpent jacket anymore, and he got rid of his beanie, but he also has a little goatee thing here going. Now, what I think is going to happen, he has to get his beanie back, even though Betty might not wear her ponytail ever again, because it's just a ponytail. Jughead's beanie is what makes him Jughead. He's not Jughead without a beanie. So first up, here's the official time to poster for Riverdale Season 5. This is mostly helpful for a good look at the whole cast in your regular Hollywood head pile. It's also our first good look at Betty sans her iconic ponytail. Jughead without his beanie, he tossed it into the time capsule in this past week's episode. And with a I'm a cool writer dirt stash. Tony Topaz is Vanessa Morgan's new look, and our first real look at Erin Westbrook with the rest of the cast. She'll be joining in the brand new role as Tabitha Tate, Pop Tate's granddaughter. It's also sort of fascinating from a logical perspective. God. Without getting too into the weeds, that Riverdale was essentially promoting a season 5, and then 1 week later has to gear up for a season premiere. What a time to be alive. So the returning hero. Again, this looks like he's in a World War II uniform, but whatever. We'll see a bit more of this in the trailer footage. But here you can see Archie returning home in Purgatorio, possibly to biker bar the White Worm, which I actually don't fully understand because the White Worm was bought by Hiram. But Le Bon could have been turned into a new White Worm, so I'm not sure. After joining the army, more army-inclined folks, and I can probably tell what rank he is, but as Veronica mentioned, there's a war on. With whom? Who knows? It's distinctly possible Archie is returning with a few more scars than he left with. But hey, once you survive a bear attack, war is easy peasy. The Serpent Queen. Turtle Topaz is getting a big upgrade after the time jump. She'll officially be Serpent Queen of the Southside Serpents that keeps the dancer with the snake in the background and compete off, or that her fellow gang member Frank Burgundy is accompanying on guitar. So, this has to have been something that happened during the time jump, because now it was stated that they wanted Jughead to give the serpents over to Tony, but it never happened, so this must have happened during the time jump. And Purgatorio, she'll be one of the few remaining Riverdaleans that Archie encounters and embarks on a quest to retake the town from. Who else? Hiram Lodge. Tony is also, though you can't tell here, pregnant, as Morgan was in real life at the time. She's since reportedly given birth to a baby boy, and it was revealed that she actually named her baby River. People like to think it's because of Riverdale, but someone else says that's not true. But we can all think it's because of Riverdale. So yeah. FBI Betty, I'm really excited for this. She is an amazing investigator. What else would Betty Cooper be 7 years later than an FBI agent investigating serial killers? She grappled with her own serial killer genes. Her father and half-brother turned out to be serial killers, except her father was killing people who he thought had sinned, even though they were good people, while her brother was killing murderers, or murderer adjacent. He was killing the preppies, which he killed bad people is what he said, which, let's bring it down, like, if you're a serial killer but you only kill bad people, does that make you a serial killer? I don't know. I would say it does, but it's not like they're killing people who don't deserve it, because, like, most serial killers are just killing people because they remind them of someone that they hate, but is a good person. I don't know. So of course she would join the agency. That's where we'll find her in Purgatorio. I'm gonna have trouble. The episode used to be called Purgatory. I think it's just Purgatorio. Murder Wall, and all. Also, we see you wall beat, never change Riverdale. I don't know what that means. Think Clarence Darling is in Silence of the Lambs, and you get the idea. But I don't know if this is her at the FBI place, or if this is Riverdale at this point. Author. How about Jughead in Purgatorio? He'll finally gotten what he always wanted, to be a successful author. However, if the bottles in the background don't get you off, sure seems like nothing else in his life is going right. Perhaps the trip back to Riverdale could help inspire a new novel. So when I read this the first time, I was like, yeah, him being around his friends is what drove him to be an author. His friends supported him in his decisions to write, and they always were his biggest fans and supporters. And now you can see all the bottles in the background. He definitely is dealing with some demons. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say he is an alcoholic, because I don't want them to do that storyline for him. I don't want them to do him dirty like that, because his dad and grandfather were both alcoholics, and even though his dad got clean and his grandfather seems to be doing better too, I just, maybe just a heavy drinker or day drinker, but not an alcoholic, because I don't think Jughead ever would be an alcoholic. But I think when we get to Riverdale and being with the gang again, Betty mainly, will change his ways. Jughead's girlfriend. Now, this could be his girlfriend, or it could be Betty. I like to believe it's Betty, but it's probably his girlfriend. Also, people were saying that he was homeless. He has a house or an apartment. He's living somewhere. I also want to know where he's been living. Take this with a grain of salt. There have been persistent rumors from fans that Jughead will have a new girlfriend post-time jump. If that is true, it looks here like he could be having a serious and disappointing conversation with her. Perhaps his hard-drinking, no-writing ways are causing her to leave, and perhaps defeated, Jughead returns to town and friends who spurred him. Cheryl painting blossoms. When we last left Cheryl Blossom, she had all but broken up with Tony and vowed to restore the Blossom name in Riverdale after her mom murdered the entire family. Anyway, we don't know a lot about Cheryl's status 7 years later, but it definitely looks like she's cleaning flowers in Thistle House, dressed all in black, and Instagram keys from Petch use the word recluse to describe Cheryl, and that certainly fits with what we see here in Purgatorio. Okay, so number 8, Hermione's back. Surprise! After announcing that Marisol Nichols was leaving the series, then that she'd be returning to finish up the 3 episodes left from season 4 and do a few guest appearances, we've got our first look at Hermione Lodge 7 years later. She'll pop up in Purgatorio, seemingly dining with Veronica. Is she still on Real Housewives of New York, as mentioned a few episodes back? Is she still living with Andy Cohen? How's she doing? I guess we'll find out. Reunited, and it feels so bad. In a series of pics from Purgatorio, we can see Archie shaking Pop's hand with Tony looking on in the background. Betty smiling at someone, and then Tony and Veronica looking on annoyed. Looking on annoyed or disturbed. Is Archie talking about his plan to get the gang back together here? Is it something else? There's definitely at least one formerly beanie hat wearing person not spotted in this tableau. Meet Tabitha Tate. We'll get back to Purgatorio in a second. The footage from the 2 trailers seems on surface to be several episodes jumbled together. But first, an official photo of Westbrook as Tabitha Tate in full Pops uniform from The Homecoming. We don't know a lot about Tabitha yet, though she does have an eye to franchising Pops. Welcome to Riverdale, Tabitha. Hope you survived the experiences. Oh, this is one of my favorite, because I love that we get Sheriff Keller and Mrs. Cooper back. The boys and girls are back in town. And Kevin, of course. As we can see from this still from The Homecoming, it looks like at least some of the old band is back together. Here, Betty and Veronica are front and center, joined by Alice, Kevin Keller, and Tom Keller. Are they perhaps greeting a returning Jughead with his fave milkshakes? Speaking of Veronica, you might notice the ring on her finger. At some point in the past 7 years, she married a guy named Chad Gecko, played by Chris Mason. He was described as an alpha dog threatened by Veronica's life in Riverdale. Especially her friendship with Archie. Yikes. As for Kevin, we actually know what he's up to, working at Riverdale High directing theater. We learned that thanks to a guest appearance on Katie Keene last year, and his dad is most likely the sheriff again, thanks to some last-minute finagling from F.P. Jones in Graduation. So, oh, yep, we can see the ring right there. Bughead's back, alright. They're totally endgame. They're gonna get back together. We all know it. In another pic, we see Tony, Veronica, and Archie, but on this side of the table, Betty and a supremely bummed out Jughead. After getting ditched by his friends for 7 years within UB2, regardless, fans holding out hope that Bughead will reignite some of the old sparks after they grew cold in Graduation. Well, that's where relation starts here. Yeah, I mean, Jughead is an extremely loyal character. I mean, he showed back up a year later when no one else did. So, home again. Okay, here we go. First up, from the just released The Future Is Now teaser trailer, we can see what's most likely Archie returning home from the army. Pops is bathed in red, there are bikers out front. In the intervening years, Riverdale has become a ghost town thanks to Hiram Lodge's schemes left untracked. Seeing what's become of the place he loves, Archie of course vows to save everyone. I still don't recall Pops being a gas station, so... But that's why I start to think that maybe, like, Le Bon Oui has turned into the White Worm. I hope Veronica takes it back. I hope we haven't seen the last of Le Bon Oui. We're in our 20s. There's a running bit on Netflix that's excellent. BoJack Horseman, where whenever they have a flashback episode, someone will say, "Come on, this is the 1980s," or "But this is the 1960s." Anyway, over footage of Tony doing her serpent dance, we hear Archie saying, "We're in our 20s," presumably to Betty, which is true. It's 7 years later, and the teens of Riverdale are finally playing close to their actual ages. Possibly more importantly, you can see Archie out of his army uniform and in a Riverdale High sweatshirt. Though exact details haven't been confirmed, in The Homecoming, the war for Riverdale's soul begins with Riverdale High, and it certainly looks like all the kids are returning as teachers, including Coach Archie. The end of Riverdale. As our new Core 5 looks on, Hiram Lodge announces that Riverdale is hereby dissolved, whatever that means. Regardless, we can see a few other folks in the background, including Mr. Weatherby, School Secretary Miss Banks, and even fan favorite Sweet Pea, looking mad enough to break a pencil. No Cheryl, though, but in this little thing, which reveals what the episodes are going to be about, we'll find out that Cheryl actually wasn't included in their takedown. Tony and Archie save the homeless problem, yet you can see that she's wearing her serpent jacket again. In what looks like the alley next to Archie's former boxing gym, the El Royale, Tony and Archie spy a large homeless encampment that's propped up as in voiceover he says, "We can bring this town back to life." And actually he's wearing an El Royale sweatshirt, so that must mean that he still owns the gym, and maybe he plans to reopen it. I mean, now he has the money, because back then he didn't have any money. And it might be hard for him and Veronica, because she's the one that really helped him open it the first time. But Riverdale has always had its weird pockets, from kids sleeping under the boxing ring, snuff film raves, and more. But solving the town's homeless problem, very curious to see how this pans out. More like Jug Hyde Jones. So I still don't understand why he's wearing glasses. Like, in a quick, weird shot, we see Jughead now wearing glasses, like the Dirsch stash wasn't enough to scream artist. Try to hide under the counter at Pops. Is he hiding from Betty? More likely, as the Homecoming synopsis teases, he's on the run from his creditors. Hey, maybe he could get a job at his Save Down and make up the cash. So yeah, that's supposed to be a storyline that, like, he wrote one best-selling book and then he's having trouble with the money now. So in the Homecoming, he gets a job, which is what it says. Miss Topaz, if you're nasty. Yeah, look, Miss Topaz. And Cheryl does not look happy talking to Tony. We can see that Tony possibly did graduate university. She has a degree on her wall. I wonder what Tony became. But it doesn't look like she and Cheryl got back together. You're playing a very dangerous game, says Cheryl. Now out of the black robes and Thistle House proper. But what is going on in this scene? Is she in Tony's office, sitting at Tony's desk? Who is Cheryl talking to? I need answers. Me too. Home invasion. After telling Betty in her bedroom, more on that in a moment, that we're taking this town back, we can see Archie bashing down a door and attacking a thug in the kitchen. To me, it certainly looks like he's breaking into the old Andrews house, which was left abandoned when Archie went to the army and his mother Mary moved out to, probably back to Chicago, though it wasn't specified. Yeah, I definitely think, as much as this doesn't like scream that that is the Andrews house, but in the trailer, the scene after this when he's beating up a thug, they're definitely in the Andrews kitchen. Shower power hour. Now, I've watched this little clip like 20 times and I still don't know who Betty is making out with. And here it is, folks. The scant second of footage is currently being analyzed by the Riverdale fanbase, heavier than the Zuprender tape. Is this what it looks like? It's carefully cropped, but there is a reason to think that the long-awaited pairing of Betty and Archie, aka Barchie, are, well, you know, taking a shower together to converse water. Good on that. Now, as much as I am afraid that this might be Betty and Archie, I hope it's Betty and Jughead. I hope it is. Or it might not even be Betty anymore. Maybe it's Alice. It's probably not Alice. Maybe it's Jughead and his girlfriend, who I want her to look like Betty, just so he could be dating someone who looks just like his ex. But I never know. Riverdale Chainsaw Massacre. Right in the middle of an emotionally charged trailer about saving the soul of Riverdale, it's important to remember that this is still Riverdale, which means, yes, of course, there's a random leather-clad chainsaw murderer attacking Betty. There have been a lot of hints about the overachieving mystery or mysteries again we'll be facing this year, but at least one of them involves something called the Lonely Highway and a weird, seemingly demonic trucker who trolls the roads. So there will be other than Hiram, there will be another mystery. Which is one thing I liked about season 4 is that it had two main mysteries, the videotapes and then Jughead's murder. So I do like that, how there was two mysteries going on. So this leather-faced looking mother, I'm not going to say that on a screen, could be from before Betty gets back to Riverdale. She's definitely gone through some trauma pre-homecoming, or perhaps the gang is going to get into the backwoods. Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, part of the ever-expanding town Riverdale. Football is war. Yeah, people don't understand this. And now it's over to the promo that broke the internet that aired directly after graduation. In it, Jughead explains what everyone's status quo is 7 years later. For Archie, it turns out he did go to war, and as the subsequent scene shows, he's been sent home. He's being sent home, honorably discharged after an injury. It's hard not to notice that this war seems to be fought on a football field, though my best guess is A, it was easier to arrange production to shoot on a set they had already had, and that B, this is a dream night where Archie is having been fighting in the army and conflicting it with his high school years. Or hey, maybe the NFL and XFL decided to finally make it personal. These hands. Again, he used Forsyth Pendleton Jones III as his author name. Jughead, as mentioned, is a published writer in the future timeline. However, a lot more speculation has focused on who is holding this book. His book, as that looks like Lady Hands. To the internet, is it Betty checking in on her ex-boyfriend? Is it the potentially mysterious girlfriend? Or has Jughead grown a pair of lady hands? In the intervening 7 years, he's also, as the subsequent shots show, an incredibly frustrated writer. Perhaps without the inspiration of his friends' lives in Riverdale, he's run out of ideas. Now, in the promo, it looks like it's Jughead holding the book, because it's Jughead and then it turns to this. But it could be Betty. I like the idea of it being Betty more than it being his girlfriend. Because I like the idea that Betty picks up a copy of his book every time she sees a copy. Chadnica. And then we get our first look at Chad, who Veronica calls Chadwick, talking to Archie, who, of note, is wearing a Riverdale ROTC sweatshirt. They seem pretty happy here, but chances are Chad is not the upstanding, loving husband he seems. Also of note, and as many have pointed out already, hopefully Veronica had a bit more going on in the past 7 years than getting married, as Jughead boils her down. Now, one or two things. I want Veronica to be a businesswoman and be a good businesswoman than her father was. But she married young, because none of the other characters are married in the show. But she married young. So I don't know. Maybe he's corrupted her. Maybe she became a housewife, like her mother. Well. Meanwhile, Betty is seen running through the woods and talking to a therapist who tells her you suffered severe trauma. Overseen to what could be the same masked dude from earlier or entirely different masked dude. Either way, here's Betty seemingly trapped in a well, just like in Clarice's final showdown with Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs. Suffice to say, CBS's Clarice better watch its step. Whatever is going on with Betty and everyone else, Archie sums it up best. Seems like we have a lot of catching up to do. See you in the future. So, that is the 25 sneak peek shots of what's to come up in Riverdale. A lot of them are going to be explained within the first episode, Purgatorio, and a lot of it's going to be wrapped up in the Homecoming, but we have a lot more. I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to repeat myself. I just never that. So yeah, I'm excited for what's coming, and I was gonna also show you the synopsis for the episodes that they have out so far, but I'm already at 30 minutes, so I think I'll save that for my next video. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.